Hi, my name is Dan and I'm one of the DT evangelists here at Digital-Tutors. In this video, we're going to look at a question from one of our users, UncleMito, on how we can begin to troubleshoot a few things that aren't really working as we'd expect them to. Okay, so here I have a scene from the Metal Ray Rendering Techniques interior course. Now if we were to notice that in our scene, if we had some specific geometry that is in wireframe, even though we know that we're in our smooth shaded mode, usually the fix for this is to be as simple as just reapplying that material. So say for example if this couch was in wireframe, we could simply come into our hypershade here and either middle click and drag that material back onto our geometry, or with the object selected we can right click and assign this material to that particular geometry. Now the next issue we're going to cover is how we can start to troubleshoot when we're having some issues with our render layers. Okay, so if I take a look here in my scene, you can see I have a couple layers set up, the default master layer as well as a color layer. Now there's actually no overrides on this particular layer, and we can see that by this little icon here for our render settings. So if I were to come in, right click on this and copy the layer, say rename it something like a software layer just so I know what this layer is going to be, and we can open up our render settings here. If I were to create a layer override, take a look at this icon here for this software layer. So I'll go ahead and right click and create a layer override. We can see right away that this icon is changed, indicating that there is an override on this particular layer. So if we're having some issues with our overrides, we can double check this icon here to see what layers have overrides on them and what layers don't have any overrides on them. Now if we're still having issues with this particular scene, another thing we could try to do would be to actually create a new scene and then import this into that scene. So we can just come to New and then come to File, Import, and import that scene. So we can see once this scene is loaded up that Maya will go ahead and actually import the render layers that we had set up. You can see our scene here. So we can either choose at this point to keep these render layers, or we can come in and delete them and then start over. So say we wanted to just create some new layers here. We could do that here in our new scene. So that's a look at a few different things that we can try when we come across a particular scene that's giving us some issues. Now if you want to learn some more great rendering tips as well as how this particular scene was set up, check out the Metal Ray Rendering Techniques Interiors course.